All right, guys, here's what we're gonna be doing today. This is my girlfriend's Jeep, 1998 Jeep Wrangler, and we had an issue where the gasket in the exhaust manifold where it meets up here with the head, it was leaking, and we were getting some fumes inside of the cab. Nothing too major, just a little bit. You know, on like high RPMs when you're driving, you would smell fumes. So I did some looking around on the exhaust, on the muffler, found there wasn't a leak anywhere on the pipe anywhere, but I found a leak on the bottom underneath the Jeep where the head sits with the exhaust manifold. So I changed the gasket and it's better, but it's still leaking a little bit. So I'm thinking that maybe just from the age, it's 170,000 miles on it, I'm thinking the head might just be a little bit warped. But I mean, I don't think it's necessary to do a head job. It's a small leak, a small exhaust leak, just not seating properly 100%. It's not mixing water with the oil or anything like that. It's not burning water. So I think what I'm gonna do is I already changed that gasket, didn't make a video about it, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the gasket back off. And because it's just a small leak, I'm gonna put some gasket maker, some high heat gasket maker on the side where the head sits with the gasket, and still put the gasket. I'm gonna put both of them, and I'm gonna try it and see if it seals up. And people might not recommend it, or people might go against it, say it's not the right way to do it, but it's just, you know, making the gasket more robust. I think it's gonna work fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and start knocking that out. Let's get to it. All right, first things first, we got to get some things out of the way here. I'm gonna have to take off the engine belt, and then I'm gonna have to take off the power steering. We're not taking it off completely, but loosen up these bolts just so that I can move it, so that I can move the head. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up this pulley right here. This pulley has to be loose in order to get the belt off. You just gotta loosen it, not take it off, just loosen it. It's like an idler pulley. There you go, just a couple turns. All right, now once that one's loose, that pulley's loose, then you just gotta get a gasket or a socket in there and loosen this one up, this bolt here. And that's your tensioner right there, see? And the belt slides right off. So now that we have the belt off, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the air tube or the intake here. Intake isn't nothing, a couple little flathead screws right there and over there. That's all there is to it. Probably get a socket in there, but we'll do it the screwdriver way. There's that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and I know I gotta move this power steering pump, so I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up these bolts. And these bolts loosen up through a little hole here. You kind of just line it up where the bolt's at, and you can get a tool in there enough to loosen them. There's two at the top and then one at the bottom. All right, now that those are loose, this can kind of pull away from this little intake here. Let's go. Now that this is loose, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove the plugs to these fuel injectors here, just to kind of get this wiring out of the way. All right. I can kind of take this harness and push it back a little bit. I'm gonna remove this hose, little breather hose, move that out of the way. And then I gotta loosen up these 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5. There's one more back there. I'm just gonna take out these bolts here. course, the last one's gonna be the tightest one. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a little crowbar here and I'm just gonna pry at the corners a little bit just to get this to be unseated from the engine, just a little bit, because it's just a little stuck in there. Give it a little bit of movement, it'll usually pop right off. And that would be the most, see, look, it's already wiggling, it's not tight at all. We can probably get, there we go, look at that. Not too much movement and it just kind of comes right off, which is what we want, just for gasket replacement. If we don't have to redo everything, we don't have to take it completely off and redo gaskets and gasket makers everywhere. All right, well, gasket's out. Just kind of fell into the abyss down there. I'm trying to get it without bending it up. Of course, don't want to bend them up. Keep them straight, keep them clean. There it is. Yeah, see, I mean, you can see on this gasket actually kind of where the leak is. I mean, this side, there's no leak, everything looks fine. But then you flip it over, I mean, this is a brand new gasket. And look, you can see cracking already on the inside, which is weird, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the block a little bit with probably some starter fluid, brake cleaner, get all the oils off, and I'm gonna do a nice little layer of gasket maker and we'll get it all sealed up. So you can see, if you just loosen up everything that I've said, how clean access you can get to the side of the head here. Like, you got a nice ways in, so plenty of room to work. Use some starting fluid, clean it up, get that oil residue off so the gasket maker sticks real nice. Dirt and grime off of there. Some oil could cause the gasket maker to not want to stick too good. And if you take off the old gasket and you see that there's like a like a bunch of leftover pieces from it, you want to get in there with a razor blade or some sort of file and kind of clean all that off, that's for sure. All right, and there it is. Let's do it. Just gonna put some on my finger and rub it in the areas very lightly. All right, there it is. I forgot to start the video and show the gasket maker before I set the gasket back on. I thought the camera was running, but it wasn't. But you can just see I put the gasket back on up against the head, and you can just see I put a light layer of gasket maker all around the back of the head, just the head side, because I did replace these exhaust manifold not too long ago, so I'm pretty sure and when I checked it, just the head side was leaking. So that's pretty much what it is. You can see how it looks, and I'm just gonna lock it back up and I'll show you the finished product. All right, well, here's the finished product. Still got to put everything back together, tighten everything up, but this plug goes right there. Okay, but yeah, you can see a little bit of the gasket maker, but I kept it pretty clean. I'll probably try to clean up a little bit better, but it's all done, sealed. I'm gonna give it some time to dry, of course, before we run it, and hopefully that seals the issue. If it does seal the issue, I'm gonna make a video about it. But of course, before I know, we've got to wait for it to dry and then take it for a drive, and then I'll do a little water test and see if everything works. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Again, if you're having this issue, stay tuned for the follow-up video. I'll let you know if it worked or not, or if you're having the issue and you want to go get a head job done or do a head job yourself. All right, guys, well, that's it. Job is done. Stay tuned for the follow-up video. If you're having this issue, we're gonna see if this fixes it. I'm gonna do another video showing it afterwards, and I'll try to do a leak test like I did before, see if it works. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work though, because I've seen this work many times. This is not something that's very common around here. Probably mechanics around here are not gonna advise you do this, because, you know, they're gonna say it's gonna get into the air system, or it's gonna get into the oil system or whatever, and it's gonna clog this, clog that. It's not going to. I know in a lot of other places, a lot of other foreign countries, besides the United States, this is a common thing. Like when assembling engines and stuff, usually they you know, gaskets are always followed by gasket maker, and this is in the same kind of engine assemblies where they're going to tell you, oh, you know, do not, some places will advise, oh, don't use gasket maker. Here they will say don't use gasket maker, and other places gasket maker is always recommended. But yeah, this is the kind of fix that I think is going to work. I've seen it work before, like I said, but usually in other parts of the world where, you know, parts is not as accessible, and, you know, money is not accessible. Here we tend to we just go buy it, and we go run down to AutoZone or run down to O'Reilly's, and they got the whole head right there for us, or just take it to your local machine shop. But in some certain parts of other places, you know, parts and is not always accessible. You can't always just get a head right now, you know, go run down to the parts store. It doesn't work like that. So these kind of fixes are known to work in different places, but like I said, here they're probably not going to advise it, but we're going to do it here firsthand, and we'll see if it works for ourselves instead of taking other people's words for it. So yeah, if you're having this issue, stay tuned for the follow-up video, and we'll watch it work. It's going to work. All right, thanks for watching, guys.